Hello and welcome to the Sting of Time. This is episode 14, the podcast. I guess it is just a podcast now.
Yeah, I think it is a podcast. It's turned into that.
It was always that, but now it's even more that. Where we watched The Scorpion King 52 times in a row. We just watched the 14th one. My name is Leeloo. Your name is Oskar. And what did we do this time, Oskar?
This time when we watched The Scorpion King, we watched an extended cut of the movie. You could actually call it a homemade extended cut.
Yes.
Because you actually
I extended it myself.
Yourself. Exactly.
So there is on a maybe on every DVD. It's hard to tell really, but there is a extended cut of this movie made by who is the what's the director's name?
Chuck Russell.
Chuck Russell. There we go. So Chuck Russell, I guess you could call it a director's cut, but not really, I guess. Supposedly the cut is they made a version of the movie and they cut it down for a theatrical release, and then I suppose they decided that was just a better cut, so they never did like an official director's cut.
No, because you put this together from like deleted scenes, right?
Yes. Yes. Like someone has put up the deleted scenes on YouTube.
Exactly.
I recorded them and I cut them into the movie where they're supposed to be. Bar one scene who is yes. Well, I'm 100% sure except for one scene, since they all cut into logical slots. But there is a cut. Like if you have a DVD, you can watch the movie with this stuff in it. So it's not like it's not the deleted scenes that are half finished or anything like that.
No, we just made our own DVD.
Yes. What did you think about this cut of the movie, Oskar?
Well, I'll get it out of the way first. That we said that when we started watching it, we immediately said, or sometime into it, said that do we expect this to be a better or worse version than the movie? And we both very quickly said worse. It's gonna be worse. I'm not sure it was worse because aside from one, I could get that over with. There's a scene at the beginning where which they cut, which takes place in the snow prologue thing for the movie, which was like a scene with Dwayne hiding in the snow and doing a big ambush on a bunch of
on one guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He kills one guy and it does a big hero reveal shot, which makes no sense because he already has one. So
right after his actual introduction.
Yes,
so
very logical cut.
Exactly. But aside from that one,
I have another one here. I think you could very easily cut the part where the sorceress says, "You've never killed a woman. Will you kill one now?" That feels very American to me. Like this is made for an American audience.
It was really stupid. Also, now that you say it, it becomes double stupid when you think how if the sorceress is clairvoyant, shouldn't she already know that he doesn't do it or something? I don't know. But
sure.
Might be overestimating the sorceress powers, alleged powers. Either way. What's interesting with the rest of the cutscenes are that the rest of the cutscenes are all pertain to a cut plot element concerning a prophecy. I want to say the prophecy, but I become doubtful if they mention it in that sense in the regular cut at all.
No, there is no
exactly
the prophecy. This is a prophecy that's, I think, presumably not a prophecy made by Cassandra.
Exactly.
It feels like a big, it's like a Jesus thing or something.
Yeah. But what the prophecy entails is that it's a bit like in the Hobbit, how the moon of whatever will shine on the door
Yes.
at such time. But because I'm rambling, but the prophecy talks about how during the month of Scorpio, I guess. I get it because Scorpion King.
I think it's a how. I said it was month during the movie because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is this in November?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it a
November.
astrology thing? But they say when the moon is in the house of Scorpio.
Exactly.
So it's probably some made up bullshit, or
whatever.
Even more made up bullshit than astrology.
Exactly. But so what all the cutscenes are about is basically whenever they. I'll call it added scenes now because it's really weird to say cutscenes, but the scenes that are added in this cut, I would say, all are about when the people like talk about this prophecy and they say like when the moon is in the house of Scorpio, Memnon will become a god if he stands in a specific spot, that like stuff like that.
Yeah, they refer to because they are lots of the scenes are about this prophecy, right? I would say that all the added scenes that were cut give context to the movie. There's a scene where Armpit magically disappears from a hole.
Oh yeah,
he has added dialogue there where Dwayne goes, "How are you gonna get out of the hole?" And he goes, "Well, when they buried me, I took a really big breath, and now I'm gonna let it out, and I'm gonna let the
like the sand fall.
It's gonna fill the hole in, and I can get out." And then the prophecy stuff, you could ostensibly say it doesn't add context to the movie in that when it's cut out, it's never mentioned, but it does lend some credence to why Memnon is so fixated on his tight schedule, why he acts so weird in the end fight and is not really actively trying to, kill.
He's more obsessed with staying in the spot he's in, so on.
And why he instead of getting out of the way of the last arrow, why he attempts to catch it.
You said something interesting there that I didn't think about while watching it, but because you mentioned how he's on a tight schedule, and that makes a lot of sense because if you think about like the scene when he gets Forax necklace back, and they're like, "Something wrong, my lord?" And it's like, "No, in fact, everything is so great. I am moving up our plans." And it's like, what plans are you moving up? In the regular cut, it's just like vague nothing plans, like it's my plan to be king or something. I mean, whatever. But now now it makes more sense. So like overall, I felt that in addition to that armpit scene you talked about, like a lot of these cut things, when you put them back in, they help contextualize a lot of things that we have complained about while watching the movie. Like obviously the armpit sand fire ant escape thing is frequently, how does this scene where he just teleports out? There's no attempt at explaining it. Like he still teleports out, but now he explains what he's going to do, and that makes it more believable. Like even though it's still movie stuff and so on. But then also with the with the prophecy stuff, it felt like it gave a lot more. I'm not sure how to put it, but it gave the plot a bit more of a purpose. It's something that both the heroes, alleged heroes, and villains are like concerned with beyond just being I'm a face and I want to kill Memnon, and that's all there is to it.
I mentioned that It's sort of. I'm gonna preface this first by saying, with this stuff in it, the movie is still fucking horrible. It's
Yes.
not a good movie, and
Absolutely.
the delivery on all the cut prophecy stuff, I understand why it's cut, because it's really corny, and it's like Memnon just has to tell Cassandra,
Yeah.
do you know the prophecy? She's like, of course I know the prophecy. Then say it. And then she just spouts it, and it's
it really doesn't fit. You
Yeah.
know, it just feels like something weird, like because they recite the prophecy, you know, like a poem or whatever, and it really feels like something that they don't do in the movie. It
Yeah.
feels completely misplaced. It's not the kind of movie where they recite poetry ominously. So,
It's weird. And she doesn't deliver her other prophecies like that, so it doesn't
yeah,
really line
exactly.
up. But the thing is, the movie becomes better when you add them back in, because the movie is still the movie. So when you cut these things out, you just get nonsensical shit instead.
Yeah.
So like with this prophecy thing in, it makes sense why the movie is called The Scorpion King, because when the moon is in the house of Scorpio, the legendary Scorpion King will rise. And Memnon, it makes sense why Memnon is LARPing scorpions everywhere, because he's decided that he's the king of legend.
It's trying to appease the gods or whatever.
And it also makes sense, or gives some credence to, oh, well, you will always have the blood of a scorpion in you, because in this cut of the movie, Matthias isn't some guy who, it's kind of interesting, I suppose. In the real cut of the movie, you could say the sort of meta message of the movie is that prophecy is bullshit. You make your own destiny. In this cut of the movie, prophecy is everything. He is the chosen one. So
and still you get Dwayne at the end, who is like, we'll make our own destiny.
Yeah, no, you won't.
It definitely will not.
Yes. But I was going to say that on this like time frame, time schedule, urgency type deal, it also gives the sorceress a fucking reason to return, because she knows that there is some urgency. Presumably, she believes that if Memnon is left alone, he will become that king of legend, and that she has to have a hand in this, and that Dwayne will come after her.
Yeah. That it really, when you think about it, just like you say, it doesn't make any sense at all in the regular cut why she would go back to Memnon, like why she would go from the rebel camp or whatever back to Memnon, because and I think I've also thought this a bit when watching it, like it's like she just appears there because I'm one of the main characters of the movie, I have to be here when everything goes down, but you do not, you can leave and so on. But now it makes more sense that she's there because she knows Memnon will become a god otherwise, instead of the vague Memnon will have a party and have a speech.
I suppose, because I don't think, it's kind of weird. Presumably she understands how prophecy works, but then again, like, does she? But maybe you could say, oh, she knows she needs to do this because she knows Matthias will become the Scorpion King. Again, it's kind of funny that there's a big prophecy that leads up to him becoming the Scorpion King, but because what he does is he goes to war a lot and then he dies.
Yeah.
So
that's the destiny of all kingdoms.
Of all chosen ones. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of... no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say... or rather, I was going to say how... I'm so sick of this movie. but I was also going to say that, like... how did you feel watching it? Because I realized you made this cut like today.
Yes.
Basically, you made it right before we watched it, and you had said something before, like, and and don't worry. And it's like, oh, I'm not worried about how I haven't peeked too much on the the extra scenes and stuff. With still watching it fresh, but I know since from the earlier episodes how you at one point pointed out that like I don't want to edit these. I don't want to edit stuff anymore. I don't want to watch the movie more than I have to. So how did it feel this time having to do this, kind of extra Scorpion stuff before?
No, it was fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I could segue this into the watch because I feel about the same. In that, like, ostensibly, it should have been a net positive for this viewing because every time there was a new scene, like, this is, we've been talking about the qualities of this cut versus the regular cut, which is one thing. But then there's like, what did the added scenes do for us, not for the movie?
Exactly.
And
what did it do for the watch?
Yeah. So I think the added scenes were really good because it's new stuff, which is always amazing.
And because it's like when we watch it, it's a very like drone-like affair at this point and so on. So when it's like when you realize like, oh, it's a new thing, new thing it goes on, you become like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Point exactly.
There was a lot of loud discussion, and then because the added scenes, they were in theatrical, so they're in 21:9.
Obvious
so both the quality and it had black bars. Funnily enough, it's not like because we're watching it in 16:9, no black bars, the 4K Blu-ray cut, whatever, and that one isn't a zoomed shot. It's not like they've cut because generally, whatever. What I'm saying is that the added scenes, they just have added black bars, so there's less in the frame.
It's like these old school widescreen is kind of a new thing movies where everything's black everywhere.
Yeah, but so we were talking as we usually do when we watch the movie, and then the second we saw a new scene, it was like, silence.
Put a lid on it.
But I was going to say that you even from a zoomed out perspective, this view should have been good or good-ish. But the problem is that when you're watching an added cut movie where there's new stuff, you are reminded all the time that there isn't new stuff when there isn't new stuff. Like the points in time between the new stuff was horrible.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember what you actually said, like towards the end. And I mean, there wasn't that much left of the movie when you said like, "There's no more new stuff now," and then when you said that, I was immediately like, "Blah blah 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 blah," like that. Oh, okay, it's just safe to go in now on this on this movie. But yeah, it really felt like you see the new stuff, you see it go into new stuff mode, and then when you exit that. And you feel like it's a bit like in cartoons you see where the floor is gonna break because
exactly.
It's painted more vividly or whatever, animated, so to say. It's kind of like that feeling, like you're watching a scene where everything is like anything could break, anything could blow up, wow, and then it's just matte painting, and you're like, I sleep, boring. So that's the kind of feeling I got.
Yes. Should be added as well that we have just watched this version of the movie, right? Which has given a lot of context to things we have complained about.
Yes. But those complaints are
they're
still
still staying because the version of
not
the
fixed
movie.
anything.
Yeah. This is a cut I made.
Exactly.
And this is not. There is no release of the Scorpion King where this is the movie.
No, and then there's nothing to be like, you know, or rather, that fact means that this is not in any reality, you know, like canon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like oh, this is like, you know, the actual plot. This is no. We have watched the actual plot.
Yes.
That the movie we watched is what they decided is the actual movie.
Yes,
So
this was the what
this
if.
is fan fiction.
Yeah. I think the only thing you could, and I'm going to use a term I don't like here, but the only thing you could headcanon in is the armpit stuff, but that also doesn't happen in the theatrical cut.
Nope.
So
in the real version, he teleports.
Yes.
No, refusing to elaborate further.
We haven't done this in a while, so maybe it's time.
Mm-hmm.
What's your emotional state, and what was your favorite part of the movie?
My emotional state, I feel drained. I'm not sure why. It might be because it's very, very warm in these lands right now. But I feel a bit drained. And what was the second question?
What was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh yeah, my favorite part of the movie this time around. I actually thought about this during the watch, but now I can't quite remember. I think my favorite part of the movie this time around was when Balthazar screams to the rebels when he's fighting Dwayne in the rebel camp, because we said something like this is him, you know, trying to calm down the crowd. He's actually, you know, he's not being aggressive at all. He's just, you know, say, please everybody calm down. And just as we like said that, he goes into the like the really big yell where he's obviously not calming anyone down, and it was so funny. Like it had no reason to be that funny, but it was really, really funny, and I laughed. So that's my favorite part.
Yeah, we had a pretty fun moment there in the fight and the post-fight discourse between Dwayne and a pretty rare sort of like a movie joke. There wasn't it wasn't, you know, someone just saying "crush my cock with a rock."
For once,
it was whatever. I think I'm doing all right. I think doing the cut and getting to see it, it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
all in all.
Got to have a bit of off the clock video editing.
Yes.
Gig that didn't pay.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm emotionally pretty clocked out at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna have to be something pretty major for me to get riled